Welcome to the Urban Wanderlust. Today, embark on a global journey with us as we explore the 25 most visited countries in the world. Get ready to discover the wonders that make these destinations truly exceptional. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our community of wanderers. Let's dive into the adventure together. Humans have been on the move for thousands of years, and in no time in history has it been easier to travel than today. Tourism is forming an increasing part of the global economy, even making up 9% of GDP and employing 1/11 people globally. Some countries are economic powerhouses bringing in millions of tourists to do business locally, while others are pristine gems which draw in adventure seekers and nature lovers. Whether it be a country filled with thermal lakes or a tiny city-state with one of the world's top economies, here we've dug up the most visited countries in the world according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization's UNWTO 2015 report. All numbers are reported arrivals for the year 2014. Going from only 25 million international tourists in 1950 to 1,133 million in 2014. People are traveling more than ever, and for reasons from business to marathon tourism to adventure tourism to more. Check out which global hotspots have made it onto our list of the 25 most visited countries in the world. Number 25. Croatia, 11.6 million tourists. Starting off our list of the world's most touristed countries is Croatia, a Mediterranean country which welcomed 11.6 million visitors in 2014. Most of these tourists came to enjoy Croatia's long Mediterranean coastline dotted with inlets and bays throughout. Due to this natural beauty, the service sector is Croatia's largest economic driver, especially during the summer when many Europeans make the short trip to the, mostly, still cheaper than Italy country. Number 24. Singapore, 11.9 million tourists. Ranked by Forbes as Asia's most influential city, Singapore is a city-state group of islands which is one of Asia's most economically prosperous and important zones. Formerly owned by the East India Company, then by the UK, Singapore has strong ties with its former colonial power. Beyond this, it has made a tremendous name for itself, including as the easiest place to do business, according to the World Bank and BERI's city with the best investment potential. Most of Singapore's tourists come for business purposes. Number 23. Hungary, 12.1 million tourists. World War I took a heavy toll on Hungary, with the country losing 71% of its land area and 58% of its population. Despite its time under the Eastern Bloc, Hungary has a highly successful and growing economy. Cheap prices and beautiful natural features such as the world's second-largest thermal lake and large grasslands have made Hungary an increasingly common Eurotrip destination. With over 12 million visitors, Hungary is the 23rd most visited country in the world. Number 22. Ukraine, 12.7 million tourists. The largest country in Europe, Ukraine has long been a global breadbasket, providing a significant amount of global grains due to its fertile territory. Coming in after number 9 on our list, Ukraine commands Europe's second-largest military, especially called on in the past 2 years since the outbreak of civil war in 2013 and the deposition of former President Viktor Yanukovych. Despite the war, and in part because of it, Ukraine was the 22nd most visited country in the world in 2014. Number 21. Japan, 13.4 million tourists. Japan can claim plenty of bests, including the world's largest metropolitan area, Tokyo, with more than 35 million inhabitants. Boasting the highest life expectancy in the world, Japan is an economic powerhouse drawing in hordes of working people to do business with the technologically advanced island nation as well as leisure tourists to visit its breathtaking scenery including the famous cherry blossoms and Mount Fuji, and maybe eat a bit of sushi and drink some sake.
Number 20. Netherlands, 13.9 million tourists.
The Netherlands received 13.9 million tourists in 2014, nothing short of amazing for its small size. The second largest exporter of food and agricultural products in the world, this Dutch-speaking country, with overseas possessions in the Caribbean, is a powerhouse on the global stage with various courts and legal institutions located in The Hague and the largest European port, larger than the next three combined, at Rotterdam. Many tourists visit for the country's liberal policies on a variety of social issues including abortion, same-sex marriage, and soft drugs.
Number 19. South Korea, 14.2 million tourists.
South Korea's rapid development is nothing short of a miracle, growing its economy by at least 10% each year from 1962 to 1994. One of the Asian tigers, South Korea has become one of the most advanced countries in the world, especially in the economy, human rights, and innovation. Besides this, it has been rapidly exporting its pop culture, often referred to as K-pop, around the world, a major reason for its influx of tourists from Asia.
Number 18. Macau, China, 14.6 million tourists.
Officially the Macau Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, Macau is the most densely populated area in the world. The last European colony in Asia, Macau was ceded by the Portuguese to China in 1999. The area was originally leased to the Portuguese in 1557 by Ming Dynasty China as a trading port. Today, Macau has the second highest life expectancy in the world and is mainly driven by its primary industry, gambling, which brings in most of its nearly 15 million tourists annually, making it the 18th most touristed country.
Number 17. Canada, 16.5 million tourists.
Finally gaining full sovereignty from the UK in 1982, Canada is one of the most economically developed countries in the world. One of the only countries to border three oceans, Atlantic, Pacific, and the Arctic, Canada is an expansive country, second largest in the world, whose economy, tourism and otherwise, is strongly based on natural resources and its natural beauty.
Number 16. Poland, 16.6 million tourists. Poland may come as a surprise on this list, but it shouldn't give the country's massive development since the dissolution of the USSR in the late 1980s.
The only European Union member state to have not experienced negative GDP during the financial crisis, Poland has long had a tumultuous history due to its prime position in Central Europe but has experienced significant recent growth. Despite the destruction caused by World War II, Poland has preserved and rebuilt many important monuments including 14 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's also cheaper than other primary European destinations.
Number 15. Greece, 22 million tourists.
Being an ancient culture, and the cradle of Western civilization, gives Greece a host of cultural and architectural sites for tourists 22 million and double its national population in 2014 to visit. This heavily touristed country was an assortment of independently ruled city-states before their unification by Alexander the Great. A major maritime power then and now, Greece draws in most of its tourists to visit the pristine beaches, islands, and coastal cities' historical monuments.
Number 14. Thailand, 24.8 million tourists.
Officially the Kingdom of Thailand, former Siam, is the most popular country on the Southeast Asian Backpacker Trail. King Bhumibol Adulyadej of Thailand, also known as Rama X, has been in power since 1946, making him the world's longest-serving head of state.
An Asian tiger, Thailand rapidly developed towards the end of the 20th century largely due to manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism.
Thailand's temples and beaches are so popular with young European tourists that travel to Thailand for many European countries is now visa-free. Thailand's influence in the tourism sphere has always been high, and it continues to rank as one of the countries with most tourists. Home to some of the best beaches in Southeast Asia, Thailand draws in huge crowds of backpackers and travelers from around the globe in search of cheap food, beaches and party atmosphere. But Thailand is a lot more than beaches. Its temples and palaces are treasure troves of history and culture. Plus, food in Thailand is well known throughout the world. Rent a car and head up north. There are plenty of things to do in Chiang Mai, from jungle trekking to whitewater rafting and hikes to secluded temples.
Number 13. Austria, 25.3 million tourists.
Bringing in just over 25 million tourists in 2014, Austria is one of the most popular countries to visit in Europe. One of the most mountainous countries in the world, only a third of Austria is below 1,640 feet, 500 meters, above sea level. Its high level of economic development has made Austria among the top 15 richest countries in the world according to the World Bank.
For Europeans and non-continentals alike, it's a popular classical music and winter ski destination. Number 12. Malaysia, 27.4 million tourists.
Did you know number 24, Singapore, on our list used to be part of Malaysia but was kicked out in 1965? Modern-day Malaysia is one of the most economically prosperous countries in the world, having achieved an average annual growth rate of 6.5% for nearly 50 years. Though its economy initially advanced due to natural resources, today Malaysia is strongly building its medical tourism, finance, and science-based industries, leading to ever more visitors to the monarch-led country.
Number 11. Hong Kong, 27.8 million tourists.
One of the major business hubs of the world, Hong Kong also has much to see for those interested in nature and culture.
Holding the title of the most visited city in the world, Hong Kong is one of the world's densest and most vertical cities.
To get its citizens around, the country's transit network is the most expansive in the world, covering 90% of its residents. Despite its density, Hong Kongers have one of the highest life expectancies in the world.
Number 10. Mexico, 29.1 million tourists.
Mexico boasts a long history as the founder of multiple civilizations including the Olmec, Toltec, Zapotec, Maya, and Aztec.
Conquered by the Spanish in 1521, Mexico is the most populous Spanish-speaking country in the world.
The combination of colonial history and multiple former civilizations gives Mexican culture a great vivacity and has endowed the country with numerous important cultural sites which nearly 30 million tourists flock to each year, making it the 10th most visited country in the world.
The number of visitors to Mexico alone is higher than the total number of visitors in the entire Caribbean, 25.2 million.
Most of these numbers come from the Yucatan Peninsula, an extremely popular destination lined with gorgeous beaches, ancient Mayan ruins, and lush tropical jungles. Explore ancient Mayan ruins, snorkel in the world's second biggest reef, and stay at some beautiful Tulum resorts. Mexico City, home to 12 million people, is also an excellent place to visit for history and culture. Major towns like Guanajuato and San Miguel de Allende are also extremely popular with culture vultures who are interested in the colonial history and Mexican traditions.
Food lovers flock to Oaxaca, best known for having Mexico's best foods. Number 9. Russian Federation, 29.8 million tourists. Occupying over 1/8 of the Earth's inhabitable land area, Russia is by far the largest country on Earth.
Its history has been complicated, first established by the East Slavs, conquered by the Mongols, and reunified by the Grand Duchy of Moscow. The third largest empire in history, Russia has long been a cultural and economic megalith, especially during the 20th century. The 9th most visited country in the world, Russia brought in almost 30 million tourists in 2014 and likely more this year since the Russian ruble has depreciated significantly.
Number 8. United Kingdom, 32.6 million tourists.
Though the sun set on the British Empire many decades ago, it hasn't stopped the proliferation of British culture around the world and the United Kingdom from making our list as the 8th most visited country in the world with 32.6 million visitors. London, the economic powerhouse of Europe, brought in half of those numbers alone.
Tourists looking for thrills beyond the fashion, museums, and overall culture of London headed further afield to the rugged serenity of the Scottish Highlands, the meadows and mountains of Wales, and the tumultuous city of Belfast, home to Titanic's shipyard. Most people rarely venture beyond the cultural capital of London. The UK actually has quite a lot to offer on its shores, beyond the cities. There's the old world charm of England, the dramatic landscapes of Scotland and the lesser-known coastline of Wales.
The Scottish Highlands definitely make for a good road trip, while a weekend in Edinburgh can be just as fun.
Hiking in the Lake District is also one of the best experiences in England. Number 7. Germany, 33 million tourists.
The second most popular destination for migrants after the United States, Germany is also the most populous country in Europe. Coming in at number 8 on our list of the most touristed countries, Germany has a compelling history spanning thousands of years. Birthplace of the Protestant Reformation, Germany boasts beautiful churches such as the ones in Cologne and Berlin and is a world leader for industry, technology, and counterculture. Many of Germany's major cities are tourist magnets, especially in festive season, drawing in visitors with their Christmas markets, beer festivals and summer events. Munich's Oktoberfest itself accounts for a big percentage of the annual visitors, while Berlin and Frankfurt attract mainly European city lovers. If you rent a car in Germany, you'll get to explore the Rhine River, Black Forest and more of its backcountry.
Number 6. Turkey, 39.8 million tourists. Turkey's Istanbul, the city straddles 2 continents and is the largest urban area in Europe and the Middle East with over 14.4 million residents. Though over 10 million tourists visited this crossroads of the world, the rest of the country drew in at least another 30 million thanks to its myriad of World Heritage sites such as Cappadocia and Troy and its 2 of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Spanning across Europe and Asia, Turkey is famed for its distinctive cultures, age-old traditions and varied landscapes. Historically, Turkey was home to distinctive civilizations through the centuries, with impressive Roman ruins and Ottoman architecture to bear witness. Today, it's home to many outstanding historical sites and natural attractions, from the unique cotton travertines of Pamukkale to the whimsical valleys of Cappadocia. Its biggest city, Istanbul, is the crowd puller, attracting travelers around the world with its blend of East meets West and Old meets New. Number 5. Italy, 48.6 million tourists. Italy is a favorite destination for millions of tourists, 48.6 million, in fact, due to its temperate climate, extensive and dramatic coastline, strong culinary heritage, and host of archaeological sites. It has 51 World Heritage Sites, the most of any country. Experiencing one of the most fragmented histories of any country, Italy emerged from numerous conquests and invasions over thousands of years as the state we now know just after World War II. The Italian diaspora, largely from unindustrialized southern Italy, has fueled a global dispersion of an interest in Italian culture. Italy's attractions are world-famous, from the romantic canals of Venice to the charming fishing villages of Cinque Terre and the city of caves, Matera. It's home to the most beautiful places in Europe. The country provides a diverse travel experience. You can drive from the Italian coast to rustic olive groves to dramatic mountains in one day. Number 4. China, 55.6 million tourists. Though 7 of the top 10 visited cities in the world are in Asia, only one East Asian country, bar Russia, has made it onto our top 10 most visited countries list. China's inclusion should come as no surprise. One of the original cradles of human civilization, the global powerhouse is the most populous country, 1.35 billion people, on Earth.
China has been cited as one of the most complex economies for over 2,000 years, due to its cyclical history of prosperity and decline. As the world's largest exporter and second largest importer, it's no doubt China will see substantially more than 55.6 million in 2014 tourists year over year in the near future.
Number 3. Spain. 65 million tourists. One of only 3 countries boasting both Mediterranean and Atlantic coastlines, Spain brought in 65 million tourists last year. Drawing in millions of tourists from its former colonies in Latin America and its position as the major European trade hub for Latin America. Such numbers have made Spain the second largest tourism destination in the world in terms of spending. On average, each tourist spends $1,000 per visit, and tourism makes up over 5% of Spain's GDP. With whitewashed towns, traditional flamenco tablaos, and centuries-old cathedrals, Spain is easily one of the most visited countries in the world thanks to its historical treasures and culture heritage. In 2018, Spain experienced the biggest increase in international arrivals amongst the 10 most visited countries, as compared to the previous year. There's so much more to Spain than just pretty beaches. Visit impressive museums in the capital city of Madrid, admire eclectic architecture and art in vibrant Barcelona, feast on paella in Valencia, and fall in love with traditional Granada. Number 2. United States. 74.8 million tourists. Thought the United States would clinch the top spot? It's just off, coming in at number 2 with nearly 75 million tourists in 2014. The world's largest economy by GDP, both nominal and real, America is also one of the world's most multicultural countries due to hundreds of years of immigration. Despite being the second most visited country, the United States had tourists spending more than in any other country, $177.2 billion in 2014 compared to $65.2 billion in number 2 Spain. Stretching from California in the west to New York in the east, the United States of America covers an area of 3.79 million square miles. That's a whole lot of country to explore. It has been on the top of the most traveled countries list for years. The U.S. is as diverse as it is huge, with expansive national parks and vibrant cities visited by foreign tourists, local visitors and business travelers alike. For first-time visitors, we recommend doing a road trip. Just rent a car and plan your route beforehand. The beauty of America lies in its backcountry. Yosemite and Grand Canyon National Parks are some of the best national parks in USA. Number 1. France. 83.7 million tourists. It's no surprise that France has topped the charts over and over again to be the number 1 tourist destination in the world. With Paris being the most famous city in the world and the southern France coasts a hotspot for tourists from Europe every summer. There's plenty here for the culture vultures, from the famous Eiffel Tower in Paris to the castles of Loire Valley and wineries in Bordeaux. Paris's place as the 5th most visited city in the world hasn't stopped the country of France as a whole from clinching the top spot, and by a hefty margin. Receiving almost 10 million more tourists than the US, France held the second largest colonial empire in history, a major factor in her close relations with many countries and territories around the globe. Despite the 15 million who visited Paris, France holds deeper appeal for tourists in its lush wine regions, coastal resorts, and small villages dotted throughout the country, bringing an accumulative total of 83.7 million visitors. There you have it. Thanks for watching. Explore the world with the Urban Wanderlust. If you enjoyed discovering the 25 most visited countries, don't forget to subscribe for more travel insights. Hit the like button, share your favorite destination in the comments, and join our global journey. Until next time, happy wandering!